educational and promotional purposes. You see, there it is. I wasn't kidding. All right. My lovelies, I hope you've had a wonderful week and had exciting buddy calls and empathy circles. And we'd like to do a round of short check-ins up to 30 seconds to share 30 seconds to share any questions, comments from last session. How was the empathy buddy call? Any short report from your facilitating and empathy circle this week? And I'll start with somebody, and I'll name the next one, and we'll start with participants. And I'd like to start with you, Dorothy, if that's okay, and then move on to Arlene.
Sure. I'm
Thank
just
you.
so happy to say that I'm calling you from Texas today. So no snow. I'm very happy about that. I had my buddy call with Faith, which was amazing experience. I did not get a chance to do a buddy circle. It didn't work out. But I've been practicing a lot with my family, which is good because I'm a problem solver. So I think it's very refreshing for them to just hear me. I mean, just to talk this way and just to share. And so that's it. So I'm really excited to continue the work and to go a little deeper.
Makes
Thank
me
you.
glad. Arlene, and then Mitch.
Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be here again, as I was happy to be here last week and the week before and all the other weeks. And I'm learning a lot, and I'm so happy to have met everybody. I did not have a chance to do my buddy call. She lives in France, and we just couldn't figure out a good time, I guess. But I'm here today, and I'm looking forward to speaking with my little group that we break into, and happy to see all of you.
Wonderful. Mitch, and then Kara.
Good morning, everybody. I had a really great buddy call with Altonia. It was very informative for me, and happy to be here today. Welcome to all of you.
Wonderful. Kara, and then Hannah.
I had some fun empathy calls with family throughout the week, and I have my manager team set up to start on the 1st of next month. So I'm super excited about that. And I had an amazing empathy buddy call with Miss Beth. We had a wonderful chat, and just getting to know each other better is just nice.
Okay, great. Hannah, and then Faith, please.
Hi, everyone. I've had a really busy week with some of my friends from abroad visiting me. We've been going all around Gothenburg, but we managed to also do an empathy circle together, and that was very nice. It's very much needed as well. So happy to be here today.
That's great. So Faith, and then Elizabeth.
Yes. Hi, everyone. How are you today? I had a wonderful buddy meeting with Dorothy. We have so many things in common, and we hope to continue our conversation that we had. So it was awesome. I have been practicing. My kids are visiting because my birthday is this week. They surprised my son surprised me. So we are practicing. I've been practicing while speaking to them. So it has been helpful. So thank you so much.
Super, thank you. Elizabeth, and then Catherine.
You're muted. You're muted.
I'm hearing a little bit of typing too. If you could mute if you're typing.
Unmute there. I'm sorry. I found out that it was very different having a circle, excuse me, with friends, good friends, than with strangers this week, because good friends don't hesitate to interrupt or say whatever they want to say. And they thought that was quite amusing. Anyway, I had a great buddy call with Kara, as she said. I really enjoyed getting to know her a little bit, and she's vivacious and energized me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great. Elizabeth, Catherine, and then Angie.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Last week's call was fantastic, and I look forward to learning more about challenges. I didn't get a chance to connect with my buddy, and hopefully we'll still be able to kind of get some carryover time and schedule it this week. And I've been practicing empathy circles with someone, well, just one-on-one with someone who I have had challenges communicating with before. So it's actually been very helpful. And I took some tips from last week that have been great.
Terrific. Angie and then Tracy.
Hi, I'm Angie or Andrea or even Olokun, and I don't mind any of those. And I haven't managed to have anything like a buddy call because I haven't managed to fill in my forms and send them off properly. But I will soon, and it's got something to do with platforms not wanting me to, but I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. I think I said Tracy and then Alexandra. Is that correct?
Thank you. I'm happy to continue my learning, feeling comfortable. I have done some one-on-one empathies this week. I did reach out to my family in the UK and got a 0 response. And I do have a 1 hour planned for later in the week with somebody that I know. Thank you. I'm complete.
Wonderful. Alexandra and then Jeremy, please.
Hi, everyone. I unfortunately was unable to do a buddy call this week, but I did do an empathy circle with a few of my roommates. So that was actually very helpful since last week we all had a very hectic and stressful week.
All right. Jeremy and then Isa, please.
Hi, everybody. Morning. I had a really great buddy call with Larry on Friday. That was awesome. We related on tons of different things. And then I had an empathy circle that went pretty smoothly with some friends on Friday about like kind of environmental issues, and that went really well as well. So I'm excited to keep learning and keep growing this culture.
Sounds wonderful. Isa and then Trevor.
Yes, hi everyone. I did not get to practice as yet. I still have to schedule. And I really feel like it's been interesting in the sense like noticing how I would think before I talk and feeling my body, what I'm saying. And so it's kind of a different experience for me, being more mindful of what I'm saying and how I'm communicating. And I'm really looking forward to learning more. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Trevor and then Swan.
Good morning, everyone. It's really good to be here today. I didn't have an empathy buddy last week, but I practiced another empathy circle here, and it was really productive. So I'm excited about being here again and learning more this week. Thanks.
Fantastic. I think you're last, Swan.
Oh, I had 2 empathy buddy calls. We're about an hour each call, and I enjoyed them very much. And yep, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other participants, not trainees, who haven't gone yet? Okay, do we have time for trainees?
Yeah, I think we're doing really well on time if you do the trainees.
Yes, thank you everybody for speaking in haikus. So the first trainee is Dwayne and then Linda.
Hello, everyone. I made the journey back from Ohio to Las Vegas. and so I'm transitioning. Being in Ohio was a really interesting experience in small town, a completely different culture, and apparently masks aren't important there anymore. So, but I'm happy to be here to continue my learning journey, and I look forward to an enjoyable session today. Thank you.
All right, Linda, and then we have a participant. Where are you, Claire?
It's been a good week. It's not snowing in Texas. It's actually jacket weather. It will be freezing by the end of the weekend, though they project. So that's Texas. It's all good. I double booked this morning. I made plans to meet friends for lunch. And then I remembered when I got up this morning, I had this, and they were gracious enough to say, we'll do it tomorrow. So you all are very important to me. So there you go.
Thank you. Claire, please.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My apologies, I've only just joined. I was stuck in traffic, but here I am. It's been a difficult week here in England, in Northern England. We've had lots of gale force winds, and I didn't have internet for most of the week, so that meant I wasn't really able to do my my group, my empathy circle, and I'm just back on the internet, which is good, and that means I can make it today, and I'm quite glad that I can.
Terrific. I don't think there are any more trainers. I'm saving myself. Trainees moving on to trainers. Celine? Unmute. Please unmute.
I'm very happy to be here and see you all. I had a really touching empathy buddy call, and that's it. I'm here.
Good to see you, Bill. And then Larry.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see people here. I'm sorry for my buddy call. I didn't reach out. I've been trying to work on this presentation and a few other things around and so I just kind of been a little bit scatterbrained. So I apologize, and if you missed it, reach out to me. I'd be happy to schedule one and hope to do better in the future. Really encouraged by everybody here. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Larry?
I had an amazing buddy call with Jeremy, and that half hour just flew by. And I'm really happy to be here and see all of your smiling faces. I love the empathy circles. Let's get going.
I had, I think I had a good buddy call. I wasn't heard, no matter what medium we chose, and valiant efforts were made by a much more technologically savvy person than myself. But I think we managed with my typing. I'm a very fast typer. So I think, for future reference, if you can't be heard, you might be read. And Edwin, is there anybody else besides Edwin who hasn't gone?
Lou.
Oh, Lou. Hi, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, so hi everybody, very glad to be here. Like Bill, I also had a busy weekend, did not reach out to my buddy, and I regret that, and please do, if you're paired with someone else, reach out to them. You don't necessarily have to wait for us to reach out to you. And I'm just very appreciative of everyone being here. I'm so touched and moved that you are taking time out of your lives to be here and to learn more about this and to help create a more empathic world. I'm very grateful for that.
Oh, so well said. Edwin, I think you're last.
Yeah, I'll just,
Anne.
Go ahead, Anne.
I'm sorry, you're jumping all over the place. Anne, why don't you go first? We'll give Edwin the last word. My apologies.
That's fine. I'm in the UK, and I've been being battered by storms for the last 3 days. Incredibly windy here. Climate change is here, and it's just lovely coming along. I've had a really hectic week and last 2 days, and it's just kind of calming to be here and see your faces and be in this space with you. So thank you. Andrea, do get in touch. I did send you an email today, but very late.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful. Now, Edwin.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it really short. I'm going to just do a ditto on what Lou said. He said it perfect. So that's it, just for time. Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to pass this along to Celine, and I'm not sure whom else, but Celine, go with it.
Okay, so Bill and I are going to address a couple of the comments and the evaluations, the feedback forms that are really great. I really appreciate everybody who fills those forms out and gives us feedback for what's going on. So, and Bill hasn't heard this. You get a little surprised, Bill.
All right.
So this one asks that if somebody in the circle notices the facilitator is not redirecting or acknowledging someone who's distracting the speaker, could a listener ask the facilitator to help ensure the speaker is fully heard?
So go ahead, Celine, and then I'll, unless you want me to respond.
Well, I would like you to respond. I'm thinking of, how to keep the integrity of the process and also deal with, it seems like one of the participants is uncomfortable about what another participant is doing. So to me, it's an interesting question.
It certainly is an interesting question. There are several suggestions. I think that overall, what we're trying to do is to, again, respect the process and keep the flow going, allow people to share fairly freely. So whenever a facilitator decides to make an intervention, there's a quick cost benefit that comes into it. In making this redirection, am I interrupting the flow more than I'm helping it along? So as a listener, what I would suggest, one of the things you can do without interrupting the flow is maybe direct message the facilitator and say, I noticed this, is this okay? And that puts it on the facilitator's radar. There might be some others. Celine?
I like what you're suggesting, Bill. And I really count on the structure of the circle to keep things safe and keep things flowing. And I would not want to interrupt it unless it's something really kind of dire. So that's my first thought about it. The other question or suggestion somebody was mentioning was worry about someone getting seriously emotional in either their speaking or their listening. So my first thought is take a deep breath. And I think that, and I've noticed we can see when somebody's taking a deep breath, and I think we can all feel it. And I think that helps to just ground everyone. I am not concerned about somebody becoming seriously emotional. Maybe if we're talking about crying or something like that, maybe give a little bit more time. So that's what first comes up for me, is that it's okay and the circle can handle it. The flow can allow for someone's expression of a lot of emotion. What do you think, Bill?
Well, I thought your advice is excellent. Yeah, you wanted to, trust the process. That's the first thing. You notice something and then trust the process and give it a little time to work. And then the only other in extreme circumstances, Lou talks about capacity. And so what I would say is that notice people's capacity. There is a point when things become so disruptive, it's not really an empathy circle anymore. And you have to kind of step in. That's the art of facilitating. So I would say, look at that, give the process, like Celine said, give it a chance, and then notice the capacity of yourself, the other people, and if it's something, very dire. That's all.
Thank you. So those were the comments. Thank you so much, everybody, for sending in your questions. Are you raising your hand, Elizabeth? And let me check on the time. Edwin, we doing okay for time
Yeah,
here?
I think we got about a 2 minutes.
Great. Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, what if the person who is very emotionally upset just says they need to get away, a break? They want to take their video off. They just need to discontinue. I mean, a lot of people do that, right? If they start crying, they don't want to be in front of everybody. So how do you just let it go? You just say, okay, we'll have to resume this later, or what do you do?
I personally, I would say, you know, thank you for taking care of yourself. And can we have a buddy call after the empathy circle so I can touch back in and see if they want help one-on-one. That's the first thing that comes up for me. How about you, Bill? Do you have anything to add?
Not very. I thought your advice is really excellent. And the buddy call after, I have done that. I have not had someone who got emotional who did that. But we are about inclusion and acceptance, and so we certainly want to accept people's personal process.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good question. Thank you. I think we're complete here, and I don't remember who I'm passing it to. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Dwayne
Dwayne
has his hands up.
Oh, I thought she was passing it to me next.
Yes.
Go for it, Dwayne.
All right. All right, we're getting ready to move to our breakout rooms. And today we would like to focus our attention and our energy on giving all the participants a chance to practice facilitation. It's important for this particular session to put the focus on practicing and addressing different types of challenges. For purposes of this session, the context that we're looking at is think of everybody who's participating in the circle as being new people who've never experienced this process before. In terms of whether or not you have a chance to present the how-to is optional, and it'll depend on the particular person who's facilitating your group and the amount of time that you have. Each facilitator in the group will set the challenge level at the desired level of the participant. You have the option of having no challenges, low or medium challenges. Only the trainers or trainees will give you the challenges. You will be required to or asked to set the topic and what is alive for the people in your group. The time for this particular session is 3 minutes. Excuse me. The facilitator is the first listener and deal with the challenges. You'll have I think it's approximately 30 minutes after this session is over, we'll move to the back to the main room and you'll have a chance to debrief this experience. Are there any questions?
How long in total will it be?
Actually, I am not
It's
certain.
an hour and a half. We have an hour and a half. So if there's 3 people, if there's 3 participants, you have 30 minutes, for each person. And some of the groups will have just 2 participants, so you'll divide the time in half. I think there's 3 rooms with 3 participants, and the rest have 4. Okay, well, I think
Tracy has a question.
What question or prompt would you like for today? Any in particular?
You can, as a facilitator, you can set the topic yourself. It's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dwayne. So we're ready to go into the circle. We have one more from Tracy before we go into the rooms. You're muted.
That was my question. Thank you. I forgot to
Okay.
lower my hand.
Oh, it was, okay, great. So here we go into the rooms and see you in an hour and a half back in the main
Wonderful.
room. Hope I have all the rooms right. Ralph, I'm staying with you. We're staying here in the main room. And this is the one that's recorded. Oh, and ICE should be moving the room 2.
Hello.
Yeah, I didn't get anything, Edwin.
I know it's like we're staying in this room. Tracy and
Oh,
Alexandra.
I see. I'm
are
staying in
here.
this room. Got it.
We're in the weight room. So if people come, drop out and come back in, they'll be coming back through this. So it's a little bit of an extra challenge. I'm just saying that Isa was supposed to be in room 2 and somehow is not making the transition. I don't know. Are you there, Isa? Or
Yes, what happens is my internet, it's very unstable. And when I was supposed to go to the room, it kind of disconnected or something. So maybe it will work now, but
okay, well, let me try moving you around and see if it'll move you. Okay, there she goes, and I'm going to move her again, move to room 2. Okay, hopefully she's making the transition. Here it's transitioning into the realms. There she goes. Okay, everything's working. Yay.
Well, hi, everybody. We have 90 minutes about. I set my timer to leave us 10 minutes at the very end. And so that means approximately 25 minutes each facilitating. And we have 2 facilitators.
Yeah, so it's going to be half.
So it's more
of
than
it.
that. It's
Yeah.
going to be, what is it going to be, Edwin? Do the math.
I don't know. It's like 40
All right.
minutes or something. It's about 40 minutes, right?
It's about 40. It's about 40 minutes, and we'll leave 5 minutes for the briefing, showing our appreciation. So I'm going to set another clock for 35 minutes, and I'm going to be setting challenges. Oh, Ruth just joined us.
We'll move Ruth to, let's see, what room was she supposed to be in?
Oh, she wasn't initially. She joined late.
You'll be moved to another room, Ruth. Yeah, there she goes.
Okay.
These are all challenges.
Yeah, some of them are naturally occurring. So well, before I ask you what you'd like, who would like to be the first facilitator? Okay, hi. Would you like challenges?
If I can go light first on my challenges, please.
If you could what?
Go easy, like ease into the challenge. First,
You want me to take it easy on you? That's my specialty. Yeah, I have very few tyrannical tendencies. And let me ask you this. Would you like to do the how-to? You don't have to.
You mean like just introducing what
it's optional. It's optional.
Yeah, I'll do a little bit more practice on it just because I will be facilitating circles. So I want to make sure I'm correcting the format.
And is there any area that you'd like challenges in? Someplace that you, is a growing edge or all over?
Probably just with redirection. This time I decided to make my little signs So
Okay, I'll be on the lookout for that, and some easy challenges will be coming your way. All
yeah.
right, you're on. You're the
Okay.
timer.
So just to clarify, we're doing 3 minutes each.
That's
right?
correct.
Okay, just don't want to make
And then
sure.
Edwin and I will be available as
Okay.
listener, speaker, silent witness.
Okay, awesome, thanks. So hi everyone, my name is Alexandra. My pronouns are she and hers. And today I would like to conduct an empathy circle, which is a brave space where we have 4 roles, including myself as the facilitator. And then there's 3 other roles, which is the speaker, the listener, and the silent listeners. What the empathy circle is you're going to have one speaker speaking about what is alive for them today, or any challenges or stressors they faced in the past week. For the listeners, they are going to reflect back on what the speaker is saying without analyzing, judging, or critiquing. Just reflect back on their words and making sure that the speaker feels fully heard and understood. As a silent listeners are just going to listen and engage on the side and wait their turn. Everybody will be able to speak for 3 minutes. Once the speaker is done and feels fully heard, the listener now becomes the speaker. Do we have any questions? No? Okay, great. So can I have a volunteer to be the speaker, and I will be the first listener to demonstrate how this process works?
Oh, I did have a question. What are we talking about here?
So it's anything that's alive for you today, or any challenges or stressors that you faced in the past week. So it could be anything along those lines, or just how you feel today and what you want to express. Any other questions? Okay. Do we have a volunteer who would like to be the speaker for 3 minutes? Okay, Tracy, thank you. So Tracy, what I'm going to do is you're going to speak for 3 minutes. I'm going to keep a timer, and make sure you pause during that time, and I will have this sign. I know it's probably backwards, and then this time to indicate time. Okay.
Okay. I'll wait a moment for Marion.
Edwin, are you going to move?
I'll move.
It's alive in me.
Okay, they're in transition.
Okay.
The timer whenever you're ready.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I'll look at a challenge that I had yesterday in a group that I belong to, and I really felt uncomfortable.
So you felt uncomfortable with the challenge that you had with the group yesterday?
Yeah, that's right. The facilitator wanted us to do something, and it didn't resonate with me. I just felt it was totally wrong.
So what the facilitator was asking you to do did not resonate with you, and you felt wrong about it?
Yeah, as I said that, I was thinking, actually, Tracy, there's no right or wrong. But at the time it was, yeah, I didn't enjoy the exercise, and I did something different.
So you questioned the exercise, questioned yourself, and decided to do something that made you more comfortable.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Alexandra, because I didn't actually question the facilitator. And I think that was because the week before they were triggered by somebody else. Maybe subconsciously, that's why I didn't.
So you're thinking about how the facilitator could have been possibly triggered the past week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe that, but I'm thinking now, I really value honest expression.
So
And I think, yeah, sorry, you go.
So you value honest expression.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it probably would be a good idea to speak to the facilitator and share my concerns about the exercise.
Sounds like you were walking on eggshells.
So you're thinking about sharing?
Walking on eggshells. No, but I just felt uncomfortable, Ralph. Yeah, I just felt I didn't do it. It was like, I'm not doing it, because we're in a breakout room. And I said, I'm not doing it to my buddy. And we did something else. I felt we did something better. But then, yeah.
So even though with this exercise, you didn't want to do it, you still did another one and you felt better about it.
Yeah, that's right. And I explained to my buddy who I was with what was going on for me.
Not eggshells. Sounds like you were chicken.
So it sounds like you did what you felt was comfortable to you.
That's my time up.
Yeah. Okay, so now that I've demonstrated what it is to be the listener, so I'm now going to be the speaker. So Ralph, would you like to be my listener?
I would be pleased. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to start the timer. So something that's been a challenge or stressor for me this past week was my job, my work. Having a lot of players depend on me affects me.
I didn't quite hear that, but your job was stressful and there was somebody dependent on you?
Yes, sorry. So something that was a challenge for me this past week is that my job, I have a lot of players, a soccer team, and they're very dependable on me.
Players. The players are dependent on you, and that's a bit of stress.
Yeah. So having 24 girls depend on you causes a lot of stress and anxiety, especially since they have mental health disorders they need help with.
So 24 girls, and there's some mental health issues involved, and that raises the bar of your pressure.
Yeah, correct. So one example I can kind of give throughout the week is on top of having players, doing practicum and school, I feel like it can be very exhausting and I feel very drained.
Yeah, there's a lot coming at you and you feel very strained.
Yeah, very drained because
Drained.
Yes, because it's a lot of pressures and no self-care time.
So you're neglecting your self-care, and it's a draining and stressful spot for you.
Yes, correct. Thank you, Ralph. I feel fully heard.
Oh, is our time up?
No, I still had a minute left, but I feel heard on that.
Because if you'd like to go further, I'm here.
I'm okay right now, but you could be the speaker now and then choose a listener.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to talk to Tracy if I could. 2 thumbs up.
Yes.
All righty. I'm feeling a little bit uneasy because I hope I didn't overextend myself in my buddy call. I think because I was chatting, I may have she couldn't hear me, so I was chatting, and I think the chatting lent me to be more like Miss Manners, commenting on things.
Right. So what you're saying is when you met with your buddy, you had to do that via chat, and you felt a little bit uneasy because the manner in which you was communicating wasn't how you normally communicate if you're doing it verbally.
That's true. And I hope I didn't exceed the bounds of no judgments. I may have been offering advice like Miss Manners does
Yeah.
in my responses.
So you were wondering in your response if you were maybe offering judgments or offering advice.
Yeah. So I tend to be very, from time to time, very self-critical, and I put myself under a microscope. And I have although I'm basically a slacker, I have perfectionist goals.
And what you've noticed about yourself is that you can have perfectionist goals
while being a slacker. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting dynamism. And I need to check in with myself and not run away. There's a saying, trauma is the disorder of not being able to be in the here and now.
Yeah. And what you're realizing is that when you've experienced trauma, it's difficult to be in the here and now.
Yeah. So I need to continually check back with myself, be curious about myself, and fond of myself. Self-care.
Yeah. Yeah. So you realizing that just to keep checking in with yourself to see how you're going with that and to take care of yourself.
You see, I did it again. I went over time. I loused things up.
Yeah. So you're a bit concerned that you're going over time.
Yeah. Now I feel guilty.
Yeah, and now you're feeling guilty.
Thank you, Ralph and Tracy, for doing that. Ralph, you still have more time to share on the next turnaround. So please hold those thoughts and then you'll get your turn again.
Very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Tracy, now you become the speaker and choose a listener.
Okay, then. So can I choose you to be a listener?
Of course, ready.
Okay. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. So for the sympathy circle today, it's any challenges or stressors you faced in the past week or anything alive for you today.
Okay. Yeah, there was I sent a message. I did a group family chat on Facebook to my family in England and said, I'm doing this course on an empathy circle, and would they help me by meeting with me?
So you shared with your family in a group chat that you were doing an empathy circle and asked if they would assist you.
Yeah, and I went on to say, we can do it on a question like, what do you enjoy about going on holiday?
So you provided them with a question, what you could do on a holiday.
It was something like that. I can't exactly remember, but it was something light. It wasn't like heavy and things like that. So they could get, they wasn't going to be under the microscope, with their deepest, darkest secrets.
So your intention was for it to be light instead of heavy, so they don't convey deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah, and none of them responded.
That's tragic.
And none of them responded.
It's tragic.
Despite your best efforts. What kind of family is this?
Exactly. What sort of family is it? Yeah. I mean, and I didn't. It's interesting because I didn't send them a reminder, and now I'm wondering, or I didn't individually message them. Maybe that would have been a better thing to do.
So to reflect back on what you're saying is that you should have messaged them to see what you could do on how to get them involved.
More like I could have done. Rather, I might have said should, but I really mean could. I don't like the word should. I don't like to should myself.
So you could have done.
Yeah, could have done. And I'm wondering why I didn't.
Not your fault. Not your fault.
Yeah, it's
Disown
their
them.
fault, isn't it? It's their fault, Ralph, not my fault.
You
I
got
mean,
it.
you know, they could, none of them to respond.
So to ensure that, making sure that you're being fully understood and heard, I want to make sure that I'm listening to you, but also as a facilitator, Ralph, please hold your comments. That way I can fully understand and hear what Tracy has to say.
Thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome.
I got carried away.
So I'm sorry, Tracy, that is now time. Would you like to be or I am now the speaker and I'm going to choose the listener.
Okay.
So Edwin, would you like to be my listener?
Finally, nobody was picking me. I mean, what's going on here?
Sorry about that. I acknowledge you now. So to carry on with what I was talking about earlier, facing challenges and stressors throughout the week. Another stressor and challenge that I was unable to do was a buddy circle.
So getting back to the topic of challenges, one that you had was you weren't able to do a buddy circle.
Yeah, which I felt really sad about, but I also knew I had zero time to do it this past week.
And you were feeling sad about it, but you just knew you just didn't have the time for it. So some acceptance for that.
Yes, correct. So acknowledging that I had a very stressful and challenging week with work and juggling all my roles, I was able to do an empathy circle with my roommates.
And even with everything you were juggling, you were able to do an empathy circle with your roommates.
Yeah, granted, it was last minute. It was yesterday, but I was still able to participate in it. And it actually allowed us to become closer and to understand one another more.
So it had a lot of benefits of being able to understand each other better and create a more closeness. Sounds like you appreciated that.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely appreciated it. And it made me hopeful for this coming week.
And that success made you feel hopeful for the coming week.
Yes, because last week I felt very defeated and stressed and lonely. And this week I feel very encouraged and I feel supported.
So last week you were feeling discouraged and lonely, and sounds like because of the empathy circle and that connection, you feel supported and encouraged and hopeful for this week.
Yeah, correct. And speaking about something that's alive for me today is that continuing on with that encouragement, I want to be encouraging others and be able to support others.
Yeah, so that sense of being supported and encouraged, you want to pass that on and support others and encourage others to kind of contribute to their well-being.
Yeah, and host more empathy circles and maybe make a weekly one with my roommates too.
Yeah, so since it was successful, you want to do more of these empathy circles, maybe with your roommates, do it every week.
Yes, thank you, Edwin. I feel fully heard.
Great. Speak to Ralph then.
Thank you.
Yeah, stressors. What stressors do I have for how's the week? I'm running for Congress, so I've just taken on this whole big project. I'm going to probably get totally creamed, because I'm running up against an establishment candidate. So has huge endorsements, but I'm going for it anyway.
So against all odds, Don Quixote Rutch is going to run for Congress against the very established Congressman.
Yeah, and it's really for promoting the empathy movement. You know, I want to get the empathy movement out into just out into the culture. So that's really what it's about, is to get the word out.
So, like every other politician or wannabe, you have an ulterior motive, and that is to get the empathy circles known, and so we can build a culture of peace.
Yeah, it's not really an alternative motive. It's like, it's pretty out there in the open. It's like, I say, Edwin Empathy Rutch for Congress, the empathy candidate. So it's not like, hey, I'm subtle about it. It's like, I'm pretty open, you know. It's like a big banner, like, hey, I want to do this. So it's yeah, it's not an ulterior motive. It's very out there.
I will not debate the point. And you're blasting your wish, which is to that everybody do empathy circles.
Yeah, and being, yeah, I didn't say empathy circles, but that's part of it. That's core. Like using the empathy circle as the campaign is core to the campaign. So one of the first things I want to do is reach out to the police and empathize with the local police, do empathy circles with them as a gateway. So that's sort of on my agenda, actually, to call tomorrow and get that ball rolling.
So
Ralph and Edwin, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to make sure you're being fully heard. Ralph, please reflect back on what Edwin is saying. That way he can feel fully heard and understood.
I thought you kind of got it. I thought you had it, Ralph. It was a little bit of embellishment, but I thought you kind of got it. I felt heard. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have another second? I just wanted to say, so you're planning this out very carefully, and you think that going to the police is your next and best first step, gateway, you said.
Yeah, and there's a group that actually did in Cleveland. They did empathy-centered. They did empathy-centered project for the police in Cleveland, and I just saw an article about it, and it was really great. Yeah. I see some real possibilities there.
There's some precedent for you to draw on with the Cleveland police effort.
Thank you. I feel heard.
Okay, I get to speak. I don't have a sense of balance, but maybe I talk to you, Alex. That be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, I'm ready.
So Edwin knows me a little bit by now, and I do sometimes have a odd way of responding. It might seem maybe a poetic way. I internalize it, and then I react, or maybe I'm just being not careful and foolish. I don't know.
So you're saying is Edwin understands more of your communication style. You're very poetic. You like to internalize things, but you're not sure if that's how others are interpreting you.
No, I find myself speaking more and more often, and I also am hearing what I'm saying for the first time. In other words, without rehearsing.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I had connection issues.
Yes. I find myself more and more speaking so that I'm also hearing what I'm saying for the first time. Not rehearsed.
So you're hearing what you're saying more for the first time by speaking more. That's not rehearsed.
Yeah, so I have to trust whom I'm speaking with, and hope that they recognize that or assume that I'm speaking with goodwill. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I think I
Okay.
might be having connection issues. If you could repeat that again.
Me too. Something came up. So I want to be careful with whom I'm speaking, that they can assume that I'm speaking with goodwill, and that there'll be reflection back and forth, and I'll get on the straight and narrow.
Okay, so you're wanting to be careful to who you're speaking with, making sure that you're being reflected back and getting on the straight and narrow. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, because I don't want to burden someone with my blathering, but more and more this is my not style, but my way of being. I just feel time's hurried. Is that the phrase? Time's hurried chariot coming near. So there's a kind of impatient.
So to end with this, because this is time and you were kind of breaking out, but I want to reflect back on what I heard is that you want to take the time and making sure that you're able to reflect back and not be on the chariot. Those are kind of some of the words I heard. I don't know if anybody else is receiving internet problems.
That's great because of our connection. I'm okay. Anyway, I won't
turn off your
belabor the
video.
point.
You might turn off your video, Ralph, because you were kind of breaking up. So
Me? All right.
Oh. There we go. Okay. And I apologize, Ralph. There was internet connections. Time is up. But I definitely want you to get back to that last thought.
When?
In your next turn. I wanted to make sure I could
Thank
hear
you.
you clearly. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Do we still have time
Oh, shoot.
to continue with me as a facilitator, or
Yes.
I lost track of that part?
So we have
Okay.
about five minutes.
Okay. So then I will be the speaker. Tracy, would you like to be my listener?
Yes, I can be your listener.
Thank you. So for this week, I am actually in midterms, so I'm really excited about that, and I will be, because that means I'm one step closer to the end of the class.
So you're excited because you're in midterm, and that means it's coming to the end of the class.
Yes, it's the halfway point. I'm also excited because this weekend I'll be able to get out of this Las Vegas in New Mexico and go to Las Vegas, Nevada for recruiting.
Right. I missed all where you were going from and to.
So Las Vegas to Las Vegas, just different states, same city.
So you go into a different area within Las Vegas.
Yes. I'm going for recruiting, so I'm excited about that because that means I'm looking on to the next year of what my team could look at or could be.
Right. So you go in to be recruiting, and it's to look at your team, and you're excited about that?
Yes, exactly. I'm also excited about it because I'll be able to see my family out there that I haven't seen in almost a year.
Yeah, and you're excited about that because you'll be able to see your family who you haven't seen for almost a year.
Yes, and I'm very close to them. So it's been challenging and hard to be living in another state.
Yeah, so you're very close to your family, and it's been quite challenging for you having been living in another state.
Yes, correct. And some of those challenges that occurs is time management, choosing time, when to talk and when they have enough time to talk to me. and me to them.
Yeah, so you're being more consciously aware of time management and when you're able to talk to them and then when they're able to talk to you.
Yeah, correct.
And for how long?
Yes. So it's all about that, which can be, like I said, challenges and making sure that we're making the time for one another, but it's also maintaining that bond, which can be difficult.
Yes, it sounds like that's really important to you to maintain that bond with the challenges there of the time.
Yes. Thank you, Tracy. I feel fully heard.
Thank you.
We have 57 minutes left, so I think it's possible to do one more round, Alex.
Okay. So Tracy, if you would like to be the speaker and choose your listener then.
Okay, then. So Edwin, would you be my listener,
Yeah,
please?
listening.
Okay, yeah. So as I'm getting a little bit older, probably over the last month, let's say, I've realized that I want to make my time left on Earth meaningful.
Yeah, as you're getting older, you're realizing you want to make your time that you have left more meaningful.
Yeah, and I think what brought it to light was where I live, somebody spoke, it felt like for 40 minutes on something that happened 30 years ago.
And what brought this up, it was that somebody was speaking for like a really long time about something that just happened like 30 years ago.
Yeah, and it was like, and I realized, and as I say that, I can feel the tears in my eyes. It felt like I wasted 40 minutes of my life.
Yeah, there's some actual tears, maybe even grief coming up to you because you just lost that 40 minutes of your life. It was kind of like wasted.
Yeah, and I'm realizing the importance of if I'm in a conversation to be connected with them.
So if you're like in a conversation, you want to feel connected with the person. Sounds like you weren't feeling connected with them, and you really wanted a sense of connection.
Yeah, I just wanted him to. I was like, not that I had to watch him, but it's like, when is this story going to end, and what is the point?
And as the story was going on, you were just thinking about looking at your clock. Is like, what's the point of this story, and when's this story going to finally end?
Yeah, that's right. It's like I would rather talk about end of life care, something that is meaningful, and we all probably don't talk about it.
And it didn't feel meaningful what the person was saying, and you wanted something that was meaningful to you to be as a topic.
Yeah, I want to know other people's point of views. I want to know maybe if they considered end of life care, and what does it look like for them?
And a meaningful topic for you is end of life care. And what are other people's thoughts about that? What are they thought about it?
Yeah, because I want to learn, and I like learning from other people, and they might have thought of something which I hadn't, and vice versa.
And you're wanting to learn and get some new insights and things you hadn't thought about. And so that's the kind of thing you would like to be talking about, something where you're learning and growing.
Yeah. And I think I realized after that conversation that I didn't instigate any conversations. So if I had almost like, thanks, Alex. If I had the list in my back pocket of like when I go to like people's places, I could like, yeah, I'll ask if people are interested in talking about this.
So you're seeing some self-responsibility that you could have is take responsibility for initiating a conversation. Maybe have some topics that are meaningful for you and take responsibility to start those conversations.
Yeah. Thank you, Edwin. I feel fully heard.
Okay.
Alex, I'm sorry, but it looks like you have one more circle. If you'd like to go as facilitator.
One more circle? What was that mean?
You mean like another round?
Please.
Oh, okay.
Another round.
Oh, I'll speak to Alexandra then. Sounds like there's term.
Okay.
Oh, Alex, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate Tracy saying about the self-responsibility that, you know, it's like we all have, if we don't like things, we can take responsibility, some responsibility. I like that shared responsibility. You know, we all have responsibility for what's happening.
So you liked Tracy's comments about self-responsibility and shared responsibility.
And I was just thinking that in terms of the story, when a person is telling the story, they're just kind of like dumping on you that feeling. And I find that if I reflect back what they're saying, say, oh, can I pause and reflect back? Then I feel some engagement in terms of my trying to understand what the point that they're really trying to get at. So the empathy circle is good for that, right? Learning how to reflect back and then asking the person, can I just reflect back so I understand what you're saying? So that gets me some engagement in terms of what they're saying.
So sometimes you feel like with storytelling, it can feel kind of like people are dumping things and you like for them to kind of stop so you could reflect back with them and really engage in what they're saying.
Yeah, and then I also can kind of guess, what are they feeling? Maybe kind of name what they're feeling, and then maybe the feelings that they would desire, you know, what are the needs or the desires that they have? And I say, oh, were you wanting more attention, or were you wanting more care? So kind of name the feeling that perhaps they were trying to have in their story.
So sometimes with the stories, you like to ask them the kinds of feelings that they were having or are having.
Yeah. So yeah, anyway, that was a kind of the thoughts there. I was excited to hear about your story that with your roommates having the empathy circle and how it gave you energy. That was very, hey, that's great. I was like, yeah, I was kind of celebrating with you.
So you're excited to hear how I was energized with having an empathy circle with my roommate.
Yeah. And yeah, and the other thing that's up for me is that policing. You know, I got to reach out. We have our local police chief, and his phone number is on the website because it's a smaller town. So I got to lay out some questions and try to reach. So I'm thinking, how do I, you know, frame my invitation to him to take part in an empathy circle? The idea is that that it would be with the police chief and 2 officers, and we would do an empathy circle on how do we bridge the social divides in our community as a topic, and we record it and then post it. Yeah, post it publicly.
So on how to bridge the social divides with policing and a police officer and a sheriff, you want to come up with questions to figure out how to address an empathy circle. Oh.
Yeah, it's more that the question, that's the question. It's more like the questions is how to bring them into it. Like, you know, I got to propose it to them and then see if they'll take part. So I'm kind of trying to strategize on, how do I kind of explain this to them so that they will take part? Because they could say, no, we don't want to do this. So yeah, it's the barrier I've got to overcome.
So with the end of time and reflecting back on what you just said, you're wanting to find questions, like open-ended questions that will engage them to want to participate in the empathy.
I feel fully heard. Thanks.
Thank you, Edwin. And so I will become the speaker again. And
that was it. That was it.
That was it. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry to the start and stops there. And now we come to, we have an opportunity for feedback and giving appreciation so that we can learn to be better facilitators and participants. So Alex, can I start with you and ask you, how'd you do?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was a little rocky for me. And just trying to, I was like so focused on, okay, what kind of challenges were you going to give me? But I was like, wait, is this a challenge? Is this not a challenge? So I think I kind of like started to progress and identify them. I think I actually liked better how I announced what the empathy circle is, the how-tos from compared to before from last week. I liked how I did it this time, and I utilized the comments from last week of saying a brave space. I really liked that. So yeah, that's all I have for myself.
Oh, terrific. Tracy? Would you like to
Thank
share your
you.
appreciation?
Yeah, what I appreciated with was I think it was you explained when the speaker took on their role, what the speaker was going to do. And I liked that. So you chose a speaker and then you said, and speaker, please pause, please do this. And I thought, oh, I like that, because when we're doing the how-to, there's a lot of information and they might not have taken it all in. So to do it at that point when the speaker is ready to speak, it's like, oh yeah, I could do that. Yeah, thank you. That was my feedback.
Oh, Edwin?
Yeah, the intro seemed very clear to me. It sounded like you're very confident and very clear in it, and had a warmth to it. The only challenge was Ralph sort of interrupted a couple of times. You kind of let it go and until you finally did. And I think it was about 4 or 5 times he did that, and then you finally caught him. One kind of tip maybe is like it was your turn to speak to him and you just started speaking, after he'd interrupted before a few times, is when you were speaking to him, you could have told him at that point, Ralph, when you had interrupted a few times, Ralph, and you want to not interrupt while the other person is speaking, and then have him reflect back, say, oh, so you're saying that when we don't interrupt. So you could have used your turn to sort of correct that, and that's within the process. So we're doing, you're not kind of like, right, you're not interrupting the process, but you're actually doing it through the process. And that can be just a powerful way of, plus he's got to reflect it too. So he's got to take it in. So that's just a little tip for kind of doing corrections.
Really like that idea and correction, because in my mind I was like trying to figure it out, which is why I didn't address it, because I didn't want to interrupt the empathy circle that was going on. But at the same time, I was trying to redirect by saying, Tracy, I'm trying to reflect back what you are saying. So in hopes that maybe it was kind of getting there, and then I just totally forgot. But thank you. I appreciate that one.
Yeah.
Okay. A question first. Alex, are those the challenges that you wanted?
Yes. So with this empathy circle, I'm going to be doing it more for research to help my supervisor. But then also I want to continue this, hopefully with my team. That's my goal. So.
But the challenges I offered you, were those the ones you wanted?
Yeah, those are, because that's what I would actually be faced with my team and probably with my practicum site that I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited for you applying this in these very, very important, not just casual, but very important situations. I think you're an awesome facilitator. I think you bring a world of experience to it. When you hesitated to catch me, I've had people that just said, basically, shut up, but I don't think that's your style. I think that you're very kind, and you were figuring it out. You didn't want to, I was already creating enough harm, and it's not in you to you didn't want to create more harm. And then you did speed it up, and now you have this handy dandy tool that Edwin just shared, that where you don't have to be in a autocratic role. Your intelligence and self-possession shown through. I can't wait for you to report back whether you're going to write a scientific paper or not on this, but I think I'm going to bet that Edwin would like to have it to post. And this is an aside, but anybody, you didn't share all the details, but you're working with 24 soccer players. First of all, just to work with any team is enormous. And they all, one of the qualifications for being assembled is that they have mental health challenges, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's a tremendous calling, and you must be, just a very, you are unflappable, and I wish you every success. I'm a great admirer. That's off the topic, but and I encourage you to do this, for all the reasons. I mean, Edwin brought up too, how you can control the situation by feeding back and so on. All right. Well, just terrific. Just terrific. I'm very happy. And it was hard for me to do the challenges because I like to be in the meat of what these circles are about, which is to bring out the beauty and the grace and wonder of that human beings are capable of. All righty. Was that okay? Getting all that feedback? You happy?
Yeah, I'm very appreciative of that feedback. It definitely helps because I'm very big about physical, emotional, and mental health. And I think these empathy circles, I know that they will help and assist me in my ongoing life. So thank you for that.
Phenomenal. Can't wait to hear. All right, I got to do this math in my head. And I think you got, it's 40 minutes till time. So 40 minutes minus 5, just to be safe, 6. So you got 30. I'll be watching this time. A good half hour. Tracy, you are the facilitator.
Okay. Welcome, everybody.
Oh, first, did you want any challenges?
Oh, yes. Medium, please. Thank you for that reminder.
Medium.
Medium.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Then. Welcome, everybody, to the Empathy Circle. My name is Tracy Steady, and my role as the facilitator is to explain the Empathy Circle process. It's going to take me about 4 minutes to do that. The Empathy Circle is a place to practice giving and receiving empathy. Empathy is useful in relationships, with friends, in the workplace, community groups, schools, and many more settings. I have found personally receiving empathy very beneficial. It helps me to process what's going on for me. Participants take the roles of speaker, active listener, and silent listener. In a few minutes, I will request a speaker to share first, and I will be the active listener and will model the process for you. We will each speak for 3 minutes, which includes the reflections from the active listener. You can either answer the question, do you have any concerns about facilitating an empathy circle, or anything else that you'd like to talk about? I will hold up the time card after your 3 minutes. At that point, if you're in mid-sentence, please complete your sentence and allow the active listener to give their final reflection. Then the active listener will become the speaker and they choose an active listener to reflect to them. And dialogue continues like this for the allotted time. Tips for the speaker. The intention is for the speaker to feel heard to their satisfaction. Pause often to give the active listener a chance to reflect back what they heard you say, about 2 or 3 sentences. I will be modeling this for you shortly. When you are finished speaking at the end of your allotted time, you can say something like, I feel fully heard. This indicates that you are finished talking and it's the active listener's turn to speak. Tips for the active listener. Follow the speaker where they want to go. Do not steer or guide them. And check your understanding of what the speaker is saying. You can do this by reflecting back, summarizing, paraphrasing, conveying the meaning you get, or a combination of those. If the speaker does not feel heard to their satisfaction, the speaker can repeat what they said, and you can try again until the speaker feels heard the way they want to. Keep your attention on the speaker's meaning rather than your own interpretations. Empathy is not asking questions, judging, analyzing, diagnosing, advising, or sympathizing. If I do notice any of these during the session, I will ask you to try again with your reflection. And tips for the silent listener: listen and be present. And at times I may request the speaker to pause, and I'll do that by piece of paper saying pause, because sometimes we can get carried away talking, and pausing just allows the active listener to reflect. And I've noticed that some active listeners take notes, and this helps with reflecting back. And relax. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So any quick questions before we begin?
Well, I'm not sure that I have empathy. Can I still participate in this? Is that like compassion?
Yeah, so empathy is reflecting back what you heard the speaker say. So if you can listen and then reflect back, that is a form of empathy, and it will really help the speaker to feel heard. Can I just pause there, because I need to move to another room because my husband. And we only have 2 rooms in the house, so
I know the situation. We deal with that too.
Yeah, can you bring
It's
my phone charger, please? Not phone charger, my computer charger. Sorry, what was that? Somebody spoke, Edwin?
Oh yeah, we always deal with that too. There's just limited room in the house, like these small houses here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, and the fact that it's like, 5 a.m. I can't, thank you. I can't expect, only got my mouse as well. I can't expect him to, you've just put the thingy on there, the blocky thing goes on top of the drawers because it's not long enough. Thank you, darling.
Well, before I was interrupted, you said, basically, it sounds like something a robot can do, just reflecting back.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Ralph. I think what would be a good thing is that if we start the process, and then you'll be able to see what it's like.
Right.
I think that'd be the best thing to do. Now, with
Thank
you being new to it.
Thank you. That's very, very kind.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so who would like to speak first? Any takers? Alex, wonderful, Alex. So I'm going to be your active listener, and I'll reflect back. So ready when you are.
Okay. After listening to you talk, at first I came into this still a little nervous, and then your voice just really calmed and soothed me. So I feel very comfortable in this space.
Yeah, so what you noticed was that when you came to do the empathy circle, you were a little bit nervous, but listening to my voice, it kind of calmed you a little bit. Did I get that right?
Yeah, because I was trying to think about what topic do I talk about. So I was just like, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, so you was wondering what topic to talk about, and you didn't know what to say.
Yeah. So to kind of, I guess, bring something for me today that's alive is I'm a slight perfectionist. So it means I like to have things, schedules, color coding, and I take that to my jobs and school.
Yeah, with bad internet signal at the moment, but I think what I heard you say was that you really like things color coded and in order, so then you know what you're going to say.
Yes, exactly. I like to collect my thoughts, be able to find things a little bit more easier because it helps with my anxiety, my stressors.
Yeah, so you like to have things organized and ready because that helps with any anxiousness and stresses that you may have.
Yeah, correct. And just having that, I feel like I'm able to be in a better mental space for others and be able to really do active listening or really engage in what they're saying.
Yeah, so you really want to engage in what people are saying and to actively listen.
Yeah, correct. Another thought of mine is doing this is I've been asked, how do I do this? And so I'm trying to figure out, how do I teach someone my ways and methods?
Yeah, so you've been wondering how you can teach someone your method of the empathy circle?
Yeah, because I was asked, well, not with the empathy circle, but more of how I manage and maintain everything.
So that is in relation to how you manage and maintain, did you say everything?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. I feel fully heard and understood.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So now I become the speaker. And I'm going to, I did have a, just bear with me, I had it in the other room, a list of who spoke and who listened, but it's now in the other room. So let me just quickly make a note. Speaker, listener, Alex, Edwin, Ralph and Tracy. So I have listened. I'm Tracy. Right. My timer. Okay, so I think moving rooms has kind of like thrown me off balance. It's like I was like coping with what was going on, and it's like now it's like I just feel out of balance.
Is someone listening to
I
you?
didn't ask for a listener, did I? Yes, hence what I said. So Edwin, would you be my listener, please?
Okay, so I hear you're moving in your room from one room to another. It's kind of throwing you out of balance, and there's sort of a feeling.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, that's what it feels like. And it's like, okay, breathe. As I think you mentioned one of them in the beginning, it's like, just take a deep breath.
So just trying to calm yourself, and you're just breathing, taking a deep breath to calm yourself.
Yeah, that's right. It was like, this was like, okay, I can do this, but like with this other thing, like it felt like not a tsunami, but it's like, and I'm like trying to keep balance. So that's what it feels like.
Yeah, you kind of had, it sounds like you kind of had it all under control, but this really threw you. It's like you're just trying to keep your balance. It was like a whole tsunami came on you and you're just trying to keep balance, stay afloat.
Yeah, that's it. I can feel my heart beating. I can feel probably shallow breathing, which doesn't help.
Mm-hmm. So you can see the signs of stress and the anxiety in your body.
Yeah, and I like, I think what Ralph said earlier. So I'm noticing, Ralph, that you're using emojis, and I'd rather you refrain from doing that, because it can be off-putting for the speaker and for other people as well.
Thank you.
You'll get an opportunity to share what you're thinking when it's your turn to speak.
My emojis too?
Yes, well, maybe not emojis, but maybe you could verbalize them. Thank you.
Yeah, so you're kind of correcting Ralph to let him know not to make them emojis, and that he can speak when it's his turn.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's a good reflection. Yeah,
so you're appreciating the reflection that I'm giving you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it's what you said earlier when it was Alex's turn about doing the reflection, and then we hear it again and the person hears it again, so it might go in on a different level.
Yeah, so you're kind of remembering how I'd mentioned to Alex that use the process to do corrections, and then it kind of goes in deeper by hearing it twice.
Yeah, that's it. Wonderful. So I feel fully heard. That was my time.
Okay.
So Edwin, you now become the listener, the speaker, sorry, and you can choose a listener.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll speak to Ralph.
Thank you.
Yeah, that part about using the empathy circle process for doing corrections, and I guess I want to add to that yeah, okay, I'll pause there.
Oh, I just repeat that part about using the empathy circles for corrections. I don't know how I can reduce
Yeah.
that.
So when you were speaking to Tracy at the very beginning, what I would have done is say, "Oh, great, Ralph, you're speaking. You can be the first speaker," and then Tracy could have just reflected back what you were saying, because you were already sort of speaking. So you could have like brought it right into the process. So that's just that's another, just throwing another tip in there.
You sly fox. You said that there's a way to do this judo by using the what might be
the process.
Yeah, using the process and using what might be a disruption or untoward behavior, but actually making that into part of the process.
Yeah, so when you're like asking all these questions, Tracy could have reflected that, and then when it was her turn, she could have selected someone to speak to and sort of answered all the questions within the process. That's just something I would have tried to do.
Well, that's just brilliant, but I would expect nothing less than the person who created this. And
Ralph, I'd just like to interrupt you just for a moment. It would be really useful if you could use Edwin's, if you can reflect back what Edwin's saying rather than making any judgments. I'm thinking like brilliant is a judgment. So just kind of, if you can kind of just listen to what he's saying and paraphrase, that would be really useful.
Yeah, get it right, Ralph. Stop being such a stick in the mud.
Oh, I'm not sure what is meant by that, but I was just told not to be such a stick in the mud, meaning I'm not, I think, cooperating with the process.
Yeah, I felt heard. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so yeah, I feel fully heard. Excellent. Yeah, thanks.
Time's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. Ralph, you become the speaker now, and you can choose a listener.
Are you keeping score, Tracy?
I'm trying to. I don't know if it's going to stick.
Who needs to be spoken to?
You do.
No, spoken to.
Yeah. I would say Alex.
Alex, would you be my listener?
I'm ready.
Well, my mind's all a whirl with sly foxes and sticks in the mud, and I think some ingenious turns have emerged that will make me, I think, a better facilitator. I'm thinking of that judo or aikido, which is harmless, seeks to do.
Ralph, would you be able to just pause just to allow Alex to reflect, please? Thank you.
So I heard you say that you've seen changes that are making you want to become a facilitator, and then you use the comment of a judo.
Yeah, better facilitator. And I think of judo because it is a gentle way of incorporating another person's energy, even aggressive energy, and converting it almost to a dance.
So you see judo as more as a conversion of energies, both negative and positive, in a way of a dance.
Well, just to put a fine point on it, if there's a mistake or an aggression, the judo will harmonize that with empathy, with the dance of empathy, and make it into something useful for everybody concerned.
So judo creates a harmony within dancing, and that way everybody can understand. Is that what you said at the end? I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part?
Yeah, instead of judo takes antagonism and creates a circle around it, so that the players are actually involved in a kind of dance rather than aggression.
Okay, so within judo, it creates a circle, or when antagonism occurs, it creates that circle with the players to be able to dance instead of react with aggression.
Yeah, and it impresses me at how much one can learn about circles. Today I feel like I got a couple of booster rockets that'll help my facilitation.
So you're surprised, but also impressed with how much empathy circles. And with the end of the time, I'll try to reflect back with how much empathy circles can help others and even yourself in bettering your facilitation.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So Alex, it's your turn to speak and to choose a listener.
Okay. I will choose you, Tracy. Trying to think of what to talk about. So in talking about what Ralph was saying, you kind of gave a lot of analogies and poetic. It's very poetic, as you said before. So it kind of got me to think about the ways of dancing and how empathy circles are created in a way.
So you were reflecting on what Ralph was sharing about judo and the similarities between how empathy circles work and dancing?
Yeah, so what came to my mind was kind of like yin and yang of two, and creating a whole and making sure that there's an equalness, but also understanding of one another.
So it made you think of yin and yang and the wholeness of that, and about understanding each other.
Yeah, and which takes me as a master's in social work and having my bachelor's in sociology, this takes me into how can we create equality within a world that has so much social division.
And you're wondering now how we can maintain equality when there is so much, I missed that last word, so much inequality, I'm guessing.
Yeah, social division. And I wouldn't
say
maintain, I would say more create, because I feel like there is inequality.
Yeah. So to be able to create, can you say that again?
Create equality.
Create equality. It's really important to you.
Yeah, so it takes me back to how Ralph was saying about the dancing. It's about understanding one another, the cultures, the differences, but also having empathy for one another. So understanding the feelings.
Yeah, so it's about understanding each other's differences. And I'm guessing to be more in tune with feelings.
Yeah. So to end it, it was more of hearing Ralph challenged my way of thinking on how I see empathy circles moving forward.
So hearing Ralph challenged you on how to use empathy circles going forward.
Yes. And thank you. I feel fully heard.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so it's my turn now to be the speaker, and I'm going to choose a listener. So if I could choose Ralph, please.
Thank you very much. But I must say, I felt a little uneasy, people talking about me. It's very hard not to say anything.
Ah, well, now it's your perfect opportunity, because you can speak about how that made you feel.
I know it was complimentary, but I just, you know.
Yeah, okay then. Yeah, okay. Are you happy to start? Oh, and who would you like your active listener to be, Ralph? In fact, you're going to choose.
Aren't you going to speak to me?
That's right. I've got ahead of myself.
It's all right. I forgive me. I was interrupting you. It's
No, that's good.
No, it's my fault.
Yeah, so yes, when it's your turn to speak after me, then you can share that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so it's my turn to speak. Okay, let's go. I'm really loving the challenges. I'm now there of like, oh yeah, okay then. And these are all the things you can learn from.
So you're loving the challenges. These are things that you can learn from. And so I'm going to give you some more, I hope.
Yes, it's just.
Might even give you one now.
Exactly. It's just to learn by doing.
Yeah, empathy circles are, you learn by experience. Can't just read about them.
Yeah. So, Ralph, if I can just remind you, as your role of active listener is to reflect back what you hear me say.
You want me to reflect back? You're reminding me that I have to reflect back what I hear you say.
Yes, please. Yes. Yeah. And then when it's your turn to speak, then you can share any thoughts that you have at that point.
And you were very polite. You said, please. And when it's my turn, I can say something.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So going back to the challenges, I find Ralph, you're very playful, and I'm really enjoying that.
Oh my gosh. You said I'm very delightful and you're enjoying the challenges.
Yeah, playful. Yeah, I thought you were playful.
You thought I was being playful.
Yeah, that's right.
Little do you know. Little do you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, empathy circles. Interesting. And I guess the question is, it's like, when is it like, is it an interruption or is that just normal? And it's like having that, there's a word for it. I can't think of what it is right now. Discernment. Yeah.
You're having a bit of an epiphany. When is it normal response, heartfelt, and when is it an interruption and out of line? So there's ambivalence.
Exactly. It's like learning. It's like, which is it? Which category is that? And it's obviously about paying attention. Yeah.
It sounds like this discernment has to come from a deeper place and not be robotic, so that you can make a decision whether it's furthering the process or whether it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ralph. That was my time up. And so back on track now. It's your turn to choose a listener and for you to speak.
I'm happy to speak to Edwin. I don't want him to be left out.
Yeah, I'm hearing you speak to me because you want to feel included.
I regret a comment I meant earlier, which is an example of my unfilteredness. I said that you had ulterior motives, and you said, how could I have ulterior motives? I'm just I'm wearing my campaign on my sleeve.
Yeah, so you're kind of regretting a comment saying that I have ulterior motives, when then I just sort of corrected it and said, hey, I'm being open about my motives. And there's some regret. For some reason, you've got some regret about that comment.
And I want to revisit the idea that you're running for office, you're almost guaranteed by your own estimation not to have a snowball's chance in hell. And people run for office to win the office, not to, that's what I meant. Not to use it as a, generally, not to use it as a platform for.
Yeah, so really what you're meaning is that most people run, when they're running for office, they're running to win, you know, for the winning. And they don't use it as a platform for sort of educating people about a topic or a message or something. So that's really what you were meaning with your comment.
It's just unusual. It's not deceitful. And it, in fact, I applaud it because pretty much all of politics, with a handful of exceptions, like what's this guy, Jamie, forget his last name, but his you'll be a colleague of him if by some miracle you win. The fellow who buried his son.
Ralph, sorry, I just need to interrupt you there. I really would request that you are respectful. When I hear words say about not winning, and I can't remember the word, sorry, you just said a word which I felt was not very respectful to Edwin.
I was fine
him.
with it. I think he had a butt out. I was just kind of like enjoying what he was saying. So
right, okay.
Maybe you could
thank
butt
you,
out.
Edwin.
To clarify, I said not deceitful, unusual. And there's one person in Congress, Jamie, he buried his son the day before the January 6th insurrection. And like you, Edwin, he is so out there.
Yeah, so it's like you're saying you're just like, this is like great, you know, being out there, just putting it out there. And it's very similar to Jamie Raskin, I think it is, he buried his son and he just put it all out there, and there's something about it that you really appreciate, is kind of what I'm hearing.
Wonderful.
Thank you. So Ralph, do you feel fully heard?
Yes, I do. This was a great exchange.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so I'll speak to you, Tracy.
Okay.
Yeah, so in terms of the empathy circle, someone is like free to say whatever they want. I just want to say that. They could say, Edwin, you're a jerk, you're an asshole. And it's my job to just say, I hear you say that I'm a jerk and I'm an asshole. Is there more? So I just wanted to kind of make that clear. Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is that in this empathy circle, that Ralph is, or the speaker is free to say whatever they want to say, and they can call you a jerk, and it's for you to reflect back what you hear the speaker say.
Yeah, exactly. So we have total free speech and free feelings here. You can say anything. You can go into tears. You can go into rage, and it's up. And so we have free speech, but we also have free empathy. So your speech is met. Whatever your speech, whatever your feeling is met with empathy.
Yes, what you're saying is we have free speech here, and there's also free empathy to go along with it, with what the person is saying.
Yeah, so I think that's what's missing in the culture. Like here in America, we're all like free speech, but we need free speech and free empathy to be the cornerstones, I think, to the culture, because and then it has to be mutual. It's mutual free speech and free empathy. So there's the mutuality part too.
Yeah, so what you're looking for is mutual free speech and mutual free empathy, rather than it just being free speech.
Exactly. And then when it's my turn, I can turn around and give it to Ralph. Ralph, you're an asshole. You're a jerk. So I'm free to, when it's my turn to say it, back to the other guy. So, or the other
Okay,
person.
and
I'm
yeah,
pretty
and then
proud.
what
I
you,
think that's a lot of fun. It's like,
okay, so what you're saying, it's a lot of fun because if someone said something to you, then when it's your turn to speak, then you can say it back at that person.
yeah, and I've had conservatives, like we did stuff on the Empathy Tent, and it was on Breitbart, which is a very conservative, magazine here. And there was like 400 comments, demeaning comments, you're a jerk, you're a baby, you're a snowflake, you're a libtard. It was just 400. And all I said was, oh, I hear you really have some concerns. Let's have an empathy circle. I'd like to hear them in an empathy circle. And suddenly they all became quiet and left.
Yeah, so you're referring to all these comments, these 400 comments that were made about being a jerk and being a baby. And I missed the comment that you made about that.
I just said, come, let's have an empathy circle. I want to hear what you have to say face to face, and I'm willing to listen.
Yeah, so you said, let's have an empathy circle. And yeah, and let's listen face to face.
And the last part of that is they all disappeared. It's like they just went back into the woodworks, I guess.
Right. And what you're saying is then they all disappeared and went back into the woodworks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have 5 minutes now for feedback. So let us be very concise. This has been just too much fun. Tracy, what do you think about yourself?
What I think about myself is I managed to get the playfulness and the more relaxed part to come back after my little blip moving rooms. But it's and also dealing with your challenges and maybe I didn't get them all right, and it's being open to feedback. When I was listening to Edwin I didn't realize that the person could say what they wanted, and I felt I took that and was like, okay, I didn't know that, but I'll know that going forward. That's my feedback for myself.
Well, thank you very much. Alex, you have some kind words for Tracy?
Yeah, so I really liked how I wrote my notes down and it was right when you actually said it, like some of us like to write things and I was like, oh, yay. So I actually liked that you had mentioned that because we all have different learning styles and way of listening. But I really liked how you disclosed the benefits of where empathy circles can take place. I really liked that because it got me to think where I can take this practice. And I felt very welcomed. Your tone is very warming, you're inviting and very calming. So I felt very calm coming into your session or your empathy circle.
Thank you.
Terrific. Edwin?
Yeah, it was a fabulous introduction. It's like, it just like covered everything. Like it was the benefits, like, oh, this is why I should be doing this. It has all these benefits. So you really covered that well, the tips and everything. Yeah, it was like really well prepared. I thought, oh, I should copy this and make it as an example, and I was like, yeah. And there was a point where Ralph was saying something and then you kind of corrected him. And, it's always a call. You don't know at what point. Sometimes I just kind of let it go if it's just like one time, and so, but yeah, I might have let it go a little bit, but then it's always a tough call too. It's like, sometimes I'll let it see if sometimes what happens is somebody does something and then, that's outside of the process, but then you just I let it go a little bit. And then they see how everyone else is doing it and it sort of self-corrects. They kind of get the message subtle, but it's yeah, but, And then you had a lot of challenges. So it's great. You had the challenges of having to move, you had to do that, you recuperate, and you shared your stress. I always find that really helpful. Like, oh, I'm feeling all stressed and discombobulated. You get a reflection on that. And it actually helps me to calm down when I share the anxiety or stress.
Yeah.
And plus it's open and you're being honest. It helps with the openness and honesty. So I think that's very good, helpful too, for an open, transparent sort of a circle. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Edwin.
Yeah, I jibe with what was just said, and I think we've just had a terrific day today. Many learnings, and did you write this out, your intro?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Oh, because if that was just impromptu, I was gonna just hang my spurs up and find another thing to get involved in. Well, would you please email it, at least to Edwin and me, and maybe Alex, you want a copy? You have all of our emails. I'm very serious about this because you are, the master is supposed to feel fulfilled when their student exceeds them. And that was just glorious. And the manner, and for you as well, the manner that we bring to it, the emotional tone, Alex, Tracy, you just got this. You can just go forth and multiply. And let's see. I'm glad that a mistake was made when you heard deceitful and you rushed in to protect Edwin, who has actually very, very thick skin for a snowflake. And but we learned from that. And there will be technical difficulties galore. And we're managing to go through those natural challenges. And it was just terrific. Are you Irish or English?
I'm English, yes. Originally from England. I live in Australia.
In the north. Oh, that does it. Okay, we got to go. I loved it. Thank you so much. Keep it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for your overall facilitation, Ralph. Really, it was great.
There isn't a little thingy come up, a box. There's a box coming up?
Didn't it come up with the time we're closing? Everybody will be back in about 40 seconds.
Oh, we have 35 seconds. My gosh. What does somebody say?
I'd like to make a request then. If I send it to you, the thing, could you, if you make it even better, would you share that with me, please?
I don't want to indulge your perfectionism, but yes. I mean, it was just a great, I want to say apotheosis. That's probably not the word.
I was just gonna say layout.
Pardon?
I was gonna say it was just like a great layout. Like I was able to follow along, even if I had focusing issues. You brought out key points that re-engage.
Meeting is being recorded.
Thank you, Anne, for your valuable input.
Excuse me.
Okay, is everybody back? We're going to debrief. I know everybody had a wonderful experience. So if you can capsulize that into about 30 seconds so we can get to everybody, it'll be appreciated. So we will start with Anne. No, not Anne, Andrea.
Yes, we did have a wonderful experience, but we touched on some important issues.
Okay. All right. Alexandra.
Hi. I'm very appreciative of this last session. I felt like I did a lot of growth in these past few sessions that I've been attending for the empathy circles and really on how to apply them. So I'm very grateful.
Okay. Elizabeth.
We had a very meaningful session, I think, as we were trying to have a coffee clutch at the end, but then we got brought back into this room.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very valuable. Thank you.
All right. Arlene.
We had the most wonderful group. I thought Altonia did the most beautiful job as a trainee. She was just spot on. Kara was just amazing and calming, just really beautiful. And Bill just kept everything together. It was wonderful. And we did a lot of play rolling by interrupting and whatever, but laughed and really felt very close with each other. And at least that's how I felt. And I'm so happy that I was in that group.
I'm glad you had a good experience. Catherine? Muted.
Yes, thank you to my group. It was another layer of I like how the challenges are building up in these sessions and different challenges are being posed. It allows me to self-reflect just on my own how I actually present challenges without knowing, or on my own. Linda was awesome at presenting some of our own challenges, and sometimes they're so subtle you don't even know they're challenges. So I really appreciate this process, and I love the energy that that Marion brought. The comments that Linda brought also of when we have people from different cultures and different languages, how important it is to think about, not even just the language, but the nuances of what comes across emotionally or with humor or with different words.
Yeah.
And so that was a great thing to think about and learn about today as well.
Thank
And
you.
I loved Trevor's calmness. It was great. Thanks.
Yes. Speaking of Trevor.
I think I really enjoyed this week's empathy circle with my group. We went into kind of the dynamics of empathy again, and that was really, seems like we were flowing really well one into each other, which was really good. So.
That's good. Carl and Son.
He's joining us. He just wants to say hi, everyone. Say hi. We had a fantastic circle, lots and lots of good practice on challenges. Some so subtle that we all took a second to be like, oh, wait, that's not your turn to talk. And some so good that we were literally like, do you get it? But it really helped us test the sort of the banks of the river of an empathy circle. Like, when do you say something? When don't you say something? When did it work? So that was, my team was, Arlene said it all. My team was amazing. We had a fantastic time.
Good, good. Hannah?
I really enjoyed the experience, and getting more challenges and building confidence. And one thing I reflected on was, and what I take away from this is, after a busy week especially, is the importance of being well rested and emotionally prepared when you come to an empathy circle. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Good. All right, Ruth, and then Mitch. Ruth.
Yeah, it was really good to be back. I missed last week, so I don't know what you did, but probably started the challenges. Yeah, I just noticed how we got deeper and deeper and more trusting. Yeah, it's great.
Good. Great. Mitch?
Yes, had a very good circle today. I'd like to say that the trainees and the trainers make this look very easy to be facilitators. Having had a turn at that again today, I can tell you that it isn't easy for me. It's a little nerve-wracking at times, and Lou's challenges were all very low key and very believable and aggravating. But thank you, Lou. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So it was a good session today. Thank you.
And Mitch, we've all been where you are. It just takes practice and practice and practice. It just keep going. Swan?
Thank you.
Oh, well, yes, we had a very good circle today. It was very nice to share this experience with the people that were in the group today. I really enjoyed all their contributions. I felt that that I learned a lot. Anne had some very interesting challenges, and that she put in there. So I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed around it. So yeah.
Good, good. Faith?
Oh yeah. Well, my circle was great. Celine was a great facilitator, Elizabeth and Claire. We had a great time. And one of the things that I've experienced through these circles is that we start on a surface level, and then as we go along, you get deeper and connected with folks. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you all, and thank you so much.
Yeah. Marion? And then Claire.
Yep.
Marion.
I'm very busy at the moment. I'm up the walls, and I missed last week's session, so I apologize for that. But I was delighted to find my buddy call, Catherine, during the circle, for the circle. Linda was great, perfect actually. And so I was like, okay, I'm tired, I do another circle. But the challenge to do it in English is a plus, and I feel really energized because the connection, because we are far away from each other, but then we are the same and yet so different. So I learned that be yourself and be listened, and it's very inspiring. Thank you.
All right. Claire?
Oh yeah, so it was a great circle today, and yeah, thank you to Faith, Elizabeth, and Celine. We had some really good challenge, some great feedback, and some really good and deep sharing as well. So yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Right. And Jeremy?
Thanks. Yeah, I had a lovely circle with Larry, Andrea, and Ruth. Couple things that came to mind. It was cool because Larry was my buddy call last week, and I was in a circle with Andrea last session, so it was cool to kind of continue to build connections. I kind of just saw the power of the circle from like making new connections, but also with like continuing to build and reinforce relationships. So that was cool. Definitely resonate with what people said about starting in more of a surface level way and getting deeper as we went through the circles. I definitely opened up a little bit more towards the end. Appreciated the challenges that Larry threw out. They're pretty funny. And I feel confident in the way that we all, especially how I handled it. So overall, yeah, pretty great. And the only other thought I had was like, wow, this is like week 4. So it's kind of crazy how time goes by so quick.
That's true. Tracy?
Thank you. I'd like to thank a participant of Ralph, who was extremely playful and gave me lots of challenges. My insight would be that the speaker can say what they want, even if they are judging another person in the group, which I didn't realize. The speaker is free to say what they want. So that was my learning, my takeaway from today. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm complete.
Great. Isa Brown. Isa, yeah. Nope, that's Tracy. Okay. There she is. Okay.
Yes, for me, it was a very somatic experience. I really noticed how every time someone would say something, how it would land in my body. And I really enjoyed noticing how it really comes alive. So noticing it really felt good. I had a very good time. I enjoyed Lou with his challenges. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Right. Swan, you're upside down.
Sorry.
All right. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Do we have, where's Edwin? Do we have time,
Yeah,
Edwin?
we're doing really well on time. So let's hear from the trainees. And
all right, Celine.
Well, we had a great circle and a lot of learning, a lot of laughter, a lot of depth, and personal sharing. It was wonderful. I'm very happy.
Okay. Larry?
Yeah, we had a wonderful circle. We had plenty of time for practicing. We had some challenges which were fun and sometimes a little bit loud. A lot of fun. It was wonderful. I love these empathy circles. Thank you.
Great. Bill?
Yeah, I just, great circle. And we really had, really shared and I'm just really touched by everyone in the circle.
All right. Excuse me. We'll go back to the participants. Ruth, did I get you? Did you have a chance?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Dwayne? Muted. Okay.
Okay. I would like to begin by saying thank you to Swan, to Hannah, and Anne for enjoyable learning experience this morning. It's interesting. I've been on a road trip for the last 3 weeks and been through snowstorms and thunder and lightning storms. My wife's in her 3rd year of medical school, so I needed to deliver her to Ohio for her hospital rotations. And I was, returned back to Vegas yesterday, and I'm reminded of the importance for being well rested and being prepared and being mentally sharp whenever I'm going to be in the position of facilitating. And so I appreciate Anne for her experience and skills and guidance and patience working with me today. And I'm really glad to be here. I always enjoy this process, and I'm really happy to, be a part of this team. So I just want to say thank you.
And we're happy you're a part of it too, Dwayne. Lou?
Yeah, thanks. We had a terrific group. I was in the breakout with Isa, Mitch, and Dorothy, and we had lots of challenges and lots of actually great responding, very skillful responding to the challenges. And I want to echo what Linda said about, if you feel like it's a struggle and you feel like, oh, it was so uncomfortable, that's, you're right at the beginning of experiencing how you're going to respond to these situations. Over time, you'll just have more confidence, and it will not be, you'll get more used to it. So just, be patient with yourself and actually take in how well you did the first time. The other thing I want to say is that Dorothy and I had an exchange where I was acting as she was not the facilitator, she was a listener, and I was playing the role of a speaker who was not enjoying the process. And I was giving her all kinds of this seems weird to me and I don't like it. I want a regular conversation and it's so unnatural and I want to know what people are thinking when I speak to them. And she just reflected back. She just heard me fully, and it actually shifted me. During by the end, I was saying, well, thanks. I do feel very heard, and it shows that if you respond to difficulty with empathy, it can shift people. So
That's
I thought
true.
it was a really good demonstration of that, even though she wasn't in the facilitator role.
That's true. And
yeah, it was a privilege to work with the people in my circle, with Dwayne, who's being a trainee, and Swan and Hannah. And I felt like I threw them quite a lot of challenge, and they all just sailed through that really. And I hope that they feel stronger and more confident and competent for it, because everybody really was and is. And I look forward to being in, I hope I get a chance to be in their circle sometime, because they're great facilitators.
Okay, and Ralph?
The word I would use is rollicking. If you know sometimes I think I should write an essay about each of these very rich experiences. Now I think a painting by Braque, you know him, the cubist, with all these wonderful slashes, and look him up. And we learned from our mistakes. Reminds me also of, I think this thing is more like jazz than it is classical music. And Miles Davis used to say, there's no mistakes in jazz. So every time you think you hit a wrong note, you're just half a note away from the note that conventionally sounds correct. So a mistake is an appoggiatura, but it was great. So much learning. It was terrific.
Good. Eltonia?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the circle with Bill, Cara, and Arlene. We were really able to connect on a much deeper level, more personal connections that we made there. I really enjoyed the fact that Bill's challenges were funny, but they were challenges. I found myself having to stop and think about what I was going to say to make sure I was using the right language, right? And I was also thinking about putting myself in that person's shoes, so I wouldn't be reactive, but be responsive. So when Arlene had jumped in, like, to try to give me a challenge, like, her voice was just so calming. It totally just went over my head that she was disrupting the process because her voice was just so calming, and I was just letting her talking to a while for it to click, like, oh wait a minute, it's not your turn yet. Wait. So yeah, so it was those types of things. Just paying attention to those types of things, but we really had a good time in learning when it's okay to redirect the process and when it's not. We had a couple of moments where people might have responded and said something in response to what the person said, but it wasn't nothing major. It wasn't anything major that didn't disrupt the process at all. So we just let it roll because you could really see how people was really connecting on a personal level. So I really enjoyed today's session.
Good. Did I miss anyone? Okay, I had a great time with Trevor, Marion, and Catherine. They're all great, very smooth. Trevor's voice is so calming. You're just like, okay, whatever you say. And it was good. They had the introduction down pat. They were authentic. They kept it going, even with the challenges. And sometimes they didn't know it was a challenge, but they kept it going. I'm very impressed with the group I was in today. Thank you.
Linda, thank you. Did Angie go? Andrea?
Angie. Andrea went.
I did have a go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did I miss anyone?
That was me, so I'll.
Okay, did I miss anyone?
Anybody important here?
Yeah. That's okay, Evan. We know what you're gonna say. Never mind. No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, Linda. Yeah, with the challenges, it's always good just to have these. I think these challenges that you have little challenges in this sort of a safe environment. That when you get into the the real world, that you'll have. I just keep hearing that it really does help. That you'll be sort of more prepared going into it. So I think it's very helpful in that case. And our group was very delightful. I just love little insights. There's a lot of the learning, just to see the learning how that everyone can say what they would like. Ralph mentioned that, empathy circles are like judo. You take the energy, you sort of empathize with it, and you kind of move it. You don't. It's sort of a smooth flowing. It was like a nice metaphor or analogy of the empathy circle. Sort of meet everyone with empathy as much as we can, and stay in that empathic flow. And we had one just fabulous presentation of the how-to that we, like Ralph was just wanting a copy of it because it was just so well done, and especially it was the adding of the benefits at the beginning, saying, hey, we're doing this, and here's a list of the benefits of doing this practice. And that's like, oh yeah, that has all these benefits. I want to do this. So I think that is a nice thing to add at the beginning, like, hey, why are we doing this? So those are just some of, I could go on and on about this, but so that's it for me. Thanks.
All right. Do I pass it off to Altonia? Yeah, Altonia.
Okay. Hello, everyone, again. So let's review to what we did today. So today, everyone practiced facilitating a short empathy circle with an opportunity to practice dealing with challenges if they chose to. We all was able to have extra time practicing due to skipping the introductions. And we debriefed the experience at the end of each empathy circle. So what is coming up next week? Guess what next week is, y'all? It's session 5. So next week, we're going to be integrating everything that we've been learning, hearing everyone's feedback about the training, and have a discussion about the next steps, your next steps. In addition, we will revisit the values of a culture of empathy now that you have experienced the training. Hope you guys enjoyed the training. Assignments. All assignments will be sent out through email. Don't forget to, which I'm trying to put into the chat.
I'll put it in. I got it.
There we go.
There you go.
I think that's it right there. Don't forget to hold an empathy call with your buddy. So if you guys do not hear from your buddies, the trainers and trainees are your buddies. If you don't hear from them, please reach out to them. I know sometimes one person be waiting on the other, and then sometimes the communication gets dropped. So don't be afraid to reach out to your buddy. Trainers and trainees, if you have a buddy and you haven't heard from him in a few days, just a tip from me personally, just reach out to the person you're supposed to contact and shoot them an email and give them different ways to contact you. And to keep in mind, you guys, that the buddy call doesn't have to be necessarily a call. You can do it through email, text, whatever is comfortable for you and whatever you have time and space for. But it's just to help you along with your process. Try to facilitate an empathy circle with family and friends, even if it's just 2 of y'all. Practice it with 2 people. Think about how you see the empathy circle being practiced to build a culture of empathy in your world, in your community, in your family life, in your friendships. Are there any trainer final comments?
I have one. In the opening session, there was a discussion about strong emotions being expressed in the circle and whether, how to cope with that. And I just wanted to add a couple of things. Culturally, and we do have a mixture of cultures here, so this may be different in different cultures, but certainly in the culture I was raised in, and in Western culture in general, strong expressions of emotion are often not acceptable. A lot of people grow up in families where feelings are not really allowed, or certain feelings are not allowed, and people may feel embarrassed about expressing emotion, or they may be other participants in the circle may be very triggered by expressions of emotion, including you as a facilitator. You know, if there's a strong emotion being expressed, like someone said, crying, that would be one. You know, and most people will have the instinct to try to stop the crying, you know, reassure the person or tell them it's not that bad, or, you know, or just whatever, try to stop it somehow. And so as a facilitator, first just recognize your own emotional reaction to that and try to breathe through it and not stop it, you know, not follow any instinct to try to stop it, but to actually welcome it. And I would say, and maybe if you think other people in the circle are reacting to it, to say something to normalize it and say that things can get emotions are welcome in the circle, and it may be uncomfortable for some of you to listen to them. Just keep breathing, but yes, feelings are okay, to kind of normalize that it's okay. So I just wanted to add that to what things that were said before.
Yeah.
Can I add to that, Lou?
Yeah.
We were having some deep conversations, and one of the stories that was shared was could have been traumatized. It was a very traumatic story. And one of the things I was doing with this, I was paying very close attention to the body communication between people's reactions. Like, I'm looking to see if it was upsetting people or not. But I also asked after the sharing was done, was everyone okay at that moment? So it's okay for people to share what they're going through and support them in that moment, but also ask, is everyone else okay? How they impacted by that experience too.
Yes, and I would say to do that with kind of within the structure of the empathy circles,
right.
You can encourage people to talk about it when it's your turn to talk. If you want to talk about how this was for you, please do that. You know, it could be important to do that. Yeah.
Any other trainers have any final comments?
Yeah. Here,
yes, Linda.
I've noticed in chat that someone wants a copy. I think what they were talking about was a copy of that fantastic intro that someone mentioned. So I just want to point that out, that it's in chat.
And I just want to say that
okay.
I just want to say Kara's baby has replaced, in my mind, Baby Yoda as the most cute being ever.
Oh.
No.
Oh. So I'm gonna get paid for this, yes. Okay.
Any other final thoughts from trainers? Okay, so what we're going to do now is post one feeling in the chat that you have now as a result of being here today and participating in the circle.
Rollicking.
Oops. Everyone.
Hopeful, rollicking, inspired, equality, calm, awareness, grateful, energized, and hopeful, satisfied, connected, relief, awareness, accepted, grateful and glad, I think that's all of them. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to, who am I turning it over next?
Jazz
to?
hands.
And,
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
See you next week, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Glad to see you.
Have a good week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks, Linda.
Bye.
Love it.